Guys, welcome to episode 4 of Organically Me. And this week I am joined by one of the co-owners of Gaze Hill Organics. Ian, welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Nice to be here. Nice to meet you, Liz.
I'm just going to give the guys a bit of background. So I came across Gaze Hill when I was just about to stop breastfeeding, and I was like looking for like raw milk, and someone very, very kindly sent me your way, and I haven't looked back since. And I just think what an amazing conversation that we can have for people to hear about all about what you guys do and raw milk.
No, I mean, and thank you for the opportunity. One quick correction. Gaze Gill. Everyone says Gaze Hill. Gaze Gill is a name that was left to us by our Viking sort of predecessors.
Oh, and I've just got it wrong.
It's fine. It's fine. Do you know what? Most people call it Gaze Hill because it's sort of, or some people call it Graze Hill, but it's Gaze Gill, and apparently it means Valley of the Goats. So there's some Viking history there for you.
I've been calling you Gaze, and I'm so sorry for that. So Gaze Gill.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. It's great. But the opportunity to talk about what we do, how we produce raw milk, and the ethos behind it starts with the soil and starts with nature. Because you can get a cow to milk, you can milk a cow, you can put it in a bottle, you can sell that, you can pass it on to someone. But it starts before there, and I think let's go back 500 years where Leonardo da Vinci said, we know more about the celestial bodies above our heads than we know about the soil we stand on. And that's still largely true today. So we ignore soil health at our absolute peril. So one of our key sort of aims is to make sure that the biological heritage site meadows that we've been passed on as current sort of baton holders, and because that's what we are here at Gaze Hill, we're carrying the baton for the next generation. And we've been past this beautiful biological heritage site that has summer meadows with over 80 species of plant, rare moths, rare bugs and flowers, orchids. These are all there because they've been nurtured and looked after, and that is the basis for everything we do. So when we talk about milk, we start with the soil, we start with our nature, we start with our bugs, we start with our ground nesting birds. Emma's dad was bullied, actually. So in the post-war years, everyone was moving away from hay meadows and going to silage grass and cutting 3, 4, 5 times a year. And he said, I like my ground nesting birds, I like my bugs, I like my flowers. And only because he stood fast and was actually very stubborn about it and said, I'm going to keep them, I'm going to do one crop, and it's going to be hay. Do we still have a habitat for the curlew, the lapwing, skylark, all these ground nesting birds that are so important to that milk? It all plays a part, everything plays a part. So, when we talk about milk, we start with soil and we start with nature.
That is so interesting because I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't have even thought about soil when we're talking about milk. So
most
already
you're
teaching something.
They think of the white stuff, that beautiful bottle of, well, it's not even white, is it? It's yellow because of the keratin in it, because the
gold.
cows.
I call it my liquid gold. I love it.
No, well, that's it. And it is very much due to how we farm and how we treat our nature and how we look after our soil. And the next sort of bit is as we move on to animal welfare and cows and cattle, and that plays a big part in the product, because at the end of the day, happy animals make good food and nutritious food. And give you an example. So your average dairy cow in the UK at the minute, and these are Dairy Co statistics, these aren't made up, the average life of the dairy cow is 6 years, 6 short years for an animal that can live 18, 20 years. Our oldest cow at the minute on the site is 19 years old, and she's Bluebell. Our oldest cow ever was 23 years old.
Wow.
But that is testament to how we let that animal exist. We don't push it for a yield of milk. We don't ask it to calve too early. Most commercial cows are calved at 2. They haven't finished growing, so they're pregnant at 1 1/4, and they're still sort of putting down or laying down skeletal growth. But nature takes over and then sort of prioritizes laying down a placenta, so the cow's skeletal growth is affected. They're then pushed, and the modern cow will produce 12, plus 1,000 kilos. They measure milk in kilos, not liters. But if you say 1,036 grams is a liter of milk, you roughly sort of 12,000 liters of milk.
Oh
so they push for 12,000 liters of milk in a lactation, where they are then very early on pregnant again, expected to produce a calf at 11 months in that lactation. So you can start to see, being pregnant takes a toll on the body, and to have a cow that is, over half of its life pregnant, it's no wonder that the average age of the cull cow in the UK is still around 6 years. So calving them later, not feeding them full of protein, not pushing them, extending a lactation to 18, 20 months. I've had a cow dry for 20 months, but she's in calf. She'll come good, and I know she's a real one of our better producers of milk in terms of volume. And if I told you our cows produce an average of 3,800 to 4,000 kilos of lactation over an extended lactation, you can start to see the difference in an animal that is farmed and pushed and really literally milked to death by the age of 6.
Oh, don't. It makes me so upset. I had no idea that cows only lived until 6 in that.
On average. So that's your real intensive. That's worst case scenario. There are a lot of good dairy farms out there. There are a lot of in between dairy farms that will get to 8, 9 years. Everyone's trying a system that works for them. The problem I think that we face in the UK is downward pressure on pricing creates the need to create efficiencies. Now, it's great in any business. If you can save money, if I think I can save money on my packaging anywhere, then that goes straight on the bottom line. That's profit. But efficiencies that have a direct effect on nature, environment, animal welfare, animal health, they're not efficiencies to me. They're a problem, because replacing a dairy cow is an expensive process. To rear all those replacement heifers, because if you're not keeping the cow for 18 years, you're having to replace it 3 times within that period. That's expensive, environmentally, costs, financially, and welfare as well.
My goodness. How many cows have you got there then, down on the
So
farm?
currently going through the parlour are 66 dairy shorthorns. They're a really old-fashioned breed. Dairy shorthorn would have been the mainstay dairy herd right through the sort of 50s, 60s. In fact, probably up and down the country in the 50s, you would have found dairy shorthorns, Jerseys, Guernseys, or Ayrshires. They were the dairy breeds. Good longevity of life, good producers of great milk from potentially poor food. They can turn fairly poor scrublands into 5% butterfat milk, really good quality milk, lots of keratin in it, really yellow, beautiful golden colour. So that's the sort of thing that's changed. So with 66 milking, we've actually kept on an extra, which a lot of our customers will be delighted about. We've kept an extra 14 maiden heifers on that will calve sometime next spring. So we're going to take the milking herd to around that sort of 80 cows. We don't want to take it any further, because we feel that the land here will sustain 80 cows without any impact. We used to milk 80, we dropped back to 60 odd, but we're going to build it back up to about 80, which means hopefully the supply in winter, because cows produce less in winter because they spend more time, more energy, keep them warm than they do producing milk. In summer, it's a bit of a free for all. They produce a lot more. So hopefully that'll keep a reasonable supply going in winter. On top of that, we've got young stock, foreign stock. So there's about 125 cows of all ages, from the youngest one, which will be, hang on a minute, Tiger's calf that was born 5 days ago. So from 5 days right through to 19.
I'm going to have to come and visit, don't you, by the way? I'm like already
you have to have a calf couple.
I have to come and visit.
It is amazing. All the cows have characters. Now, they will have a family name. So with the hyacinths, with the Katies, with the bluebells, right through, duchesses, princesses, rubies. But they will have a nickname as well. So, quizzical, she's nosy. And they're just, they're born to a family name, but they grow into a name that really suits them, and they're very cheeky, some of them. And we've got the three heifers that moved into the dairy herd early. So maiden heifers, not been to the ball, not had a calf yet. And they were so laid back. They're always at the back when we walk cows up the road. They're just so laid back. So they've been named as the three fairies of Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Merryweather is the most chilled animal I've ever handled, and she's lovely.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So
are they outside most of the time, or
yes,
like
yeah.
So
the organic system has a legal obligation. So we could actually be prosecuted for keeping an animal inside, not at range, on a day where weather permitted it and said it should be at range. The cows are out absolutely all summer long as we can keep them out. I think the 1st of November is when they came in last year. We didn't have much frost over the winter. Normally mid-February in a cold frost, we'll kick them out again. Not that there's any grass, not that there's anything out there, but we send them out to stretch their legs. And they settle a few scores as well, because let's face it, when you've got 60 odd ladies living together, they're going to harbour the odd grudge. And believe me, they do. But and it'll be something stupid that you laid in my spot in the bed 3 months ago, and you'll think, why the hell is Ruby clattering Tiger? What's Tiger done? And it'll be something 3 months ago that Ruby said, right, now's the time, I'm going to punish you for that. And they won't let it go.
That is that is crazy. I can't believe it. Cows hold grudges. Now I've had it all, literally.
Do you know, just to throw into that, cows have elephant memories. They are incredible. Their recall ability is incredible. And yeah, I just call it, I can liken it to an elephant. So if anyone's ever bad to a cow, it will always remember that person, and it will always avoid that person. And the same goes, on the flip side of that. If someone's looked after a cow, if someone's good to a cow, that cow will also remember. I had a cow, she was the youngest of the peer group. She's called Carrot. She was very carrot coloured. And that was her nickname. I think she was an Emily family. She was a family, Emily, I'm sure she was an Emily. But Carrot was bullied out of the food in the winter. So they got a little treat every morning. Young cows need that little bit of protein, not too much. They don't need a lot, but they just got a few pulses and beans, nothing that's bad for them, things they could forage, lupins. And she was always pushed out. So I would have to stand over Carrot and make sure she could eat and feed until she was finished and they'd all finished up. Every time I was in a field or doing something or passing Carrot in the yard, she'd turn around and she'd just nudge me. And I, to this day, swear that was Carrot's way of saying thanks. It was just that little thing. You looked after me. It was just a little nudge. But yeah,
it's so cute.
They have elephant memories.
Oh my God, don't. That honestly, that's so lovely, because I think it's hard, isn't it, for us to imagine, because when you're not around an animal, like I'm a big dog lover, well, I'm an animal lover, but when you're not around cows, you wouldn't know that, would you? So it's absolutely fascinating to hear you talk about them like that.
There's probably one of the most favourite times of the year in terms of experience, not because they're in, it's sometimes sort of, right midwinter, so around sort of Christmas, January, that time where you can wander up into the cow shed. You've got a cow, she's about to calve, or she's due to calve. You head up at sort of 1 o'clock in the morning, quietly walk through the cows just to see if she's okay, just to see that is anything happening? Does she need any help? And this amazing where you've got 60 odd, 70 large animals in absolute slumber, and the breathing and the noise and the steam from their breath. And it's the most amazing experience to just stand there and watch it. It's absolutely inspiring. You stand there and you think, this is incredible. And the noise they make collectively. But it's a real special moment, because you're privileged to be in their bedtime, in their bed space. And yeah, it's my worst time of year, because it's like a prison sentence, because we're feeding, we're bedding, we're looking after them. But come spring, they're out, which is great. But it's just those special moments where I think they get you through winter, and those hard bits of winter where it's cold outside, it's wet, the cows are in, there's a lot of work to do. But those little special moments where you tiptoe through it, 1 o'clock in the morning and they're all absolutely fast asleep, and you get the old one that wakes up and opens an eye and says, "Oh, it's you, it's okay." Yeah. So there's this absolutely sort of bond between us and the cows.
The way you talk about it, honestly, it's melting my heart. Obviously, this is one of those things like, do you have a favorite dog? You shouldn't have a favorite, but do you have a favorite? Do you have
Oh
a
God,
favorite cow?
I've got favourites that are
Favorite.
only because the way they are. They're the characters. They're probably the naughty ones. Ruby, who's also Red Ruby. Crikey, Red Ruby the third. Yeah, she's a very naughty cow. She's hilarious. Yeah, Merryweather's one of my favourites at the minute because she's so chilled, and you just come up to Merryweather and says, "Oh, what are we doing?" "Oh, but I've got to walk with them," and yeah, yes and no. I have favourites. They're all lovely.
Yeah, you build relationships with them, obviously, which is absolutely beautiful. I love it.
You learn their characters. Their characters are it's their personality, and so you deal with that character. You learn that character. The ones that are a bit more not boisterous, but a bit more cheeky, tend to stand out. And you always get the ones, the quiet ones at the back that they're there, they do, and every now and then you'll have a moment with them. But yeah, favourite, no. Favourites, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I love it. So for people watching and listening that might not even know what raw milk is, I mean, I harp on about it all of the time on my social media. But for example, if someone's out there watching or listening to this, doesn't really know what raw milk is, could you just give us like a breakdown of kind of what is raw milk?
Okay. Easiest way to explain it: milk straight from the cow, untreated,
Yeah.
nothing done to it. The only preservation we use is temperature control. So we chill the milk down, and that's the only thing we do to it. So mostly supermarket milk is at least pasteurized and homogenized. Pasteurized is heated to, I think, the legal minimum 71.6 degrees for 16 seconds in the UK, somewhere around there. And homogenized, which is a process of breaking the fat particles in the milk so that the cream, that beautiful cream, doesn't rise to the top of the bottle and everyone's, there's 3 bottles of milk open. It's on the cornflakes because the kids have all taken the cream off the bottles. But so yeah, homogenization stops that separation of the cream. And the alternative to homogenization is to shake the bottle if you don't want the cream all in your coffee or all in your cereal. So yeah, and pasteurization is heat treating, so it kills bacteria in the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't just kill any potential bad bacteria, it kills all the good bacteria, all the probiotic, all the gut healthy bacteria that they then, reactivate some little milk drink or Yakult or something like that and sell you that because that's profitable as well. It's in the raw milk in the first place. Raw milk it's a whole food. You probably be the best at it, but you could survive on raw milk. I think the horrors with raw milk when people, it's not heat treated, there could be bad bacteria in there. The bacteria doesn't come through the cow in the milk. The bacteria gets into the milk through environmental contamination. So poor milking routines, dirty milking routines, dirty plant, infected cow feces getting into the milk is a big no-no. So when the cow's coming for milking, we're milking 66 cows. You could do it in about 30 minutes. It takes 2.5 hours because every teat, every udder is washed, is sanitized. We use a specially prepared there in an apple teat wipe to actually sort of take that any potential bacteria off.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing we use. The cow is then milked. The milking plant is sanitized twice a day, before milking, after milking. We milk the cows morning and night. Other than that, the only thing we rely on is chilling the milk from body temperature, 36.5, 37 degrees, down to about 2 degrees in about 3 minutes flat. And that actually then preserves the milk and holds it there. And other than connecting the tank up to the line to the bottling plant, that milk isn't touched. So it goes from storage tank, chilling tank, to rotary bottle filler. That fills the bottles. It takes a cap, it puts a cap on the bottle, it sends the bottle down the conveyor, and it sticks the label on the bottle. And someone at the end, normally Emma, is frantically taking bottles off the end of the conveyor, sticking them in crates and into a fridge. And like I say, the only thing we do to preserve milk is temperature control. Get it down to about 2 degrees, as quickly as possible, and then keep it, at that temperature. So, a dairy fridge is set at 0, and it keeps the milk at about 1 degree Celsius. So when we send it out in the mailboxes, the insulated boxes, which we use, we use wool lining and ice packs and lots of fun things like that. When it goes out in the box, it's got the best chance of maintaining temperature, and ideally it needs to arrive, below 5 degrees Celsius. And amazingly, depending on the weather, we can achieve that over 48 hours to most parts of the UK, which is, it's taken some doing. And we've used about every type of packaging you can imagine, but sheep's wool and ice packs are definitely the best.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's always lovely and cold when it arrives. And obviously, if you do end up doing a subscription, guys, if you're watching this, it's so fantastic because the milk comes every month. You keep a certain amount out. It will come with a little slip that tells you, the off date, and the rest I just bung in the freezer. And then, you can get them out as and when you go. So yeah, it's a fantastic way of getting it as well.
And it freezes really well. The only thing we've always said to people is just, when you defrost it slowly, agitate it gently, and it's great. It's really, really healthy. All that cream and all that goodness in it. Fantastic. My children have grown up this since from the age of 3 months. They've been on raw milk. Most of them go, "Oh my God, don't feed it to children or elderly or infirm." But if it's done properly and done safely. And I use that as a benchmark. I would not feed it to my children if I felt it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's where we have to go with this now as well, because it's like, if you Google it, for example, it's like shock, horror, terror, like, no, don't drink raw milk and this, that about raw milk. And if you go on the NHS, it scares you about raw milk. But the thing is, I've found in life, unfortunately, that sometimes the things that are the best for you are actually portrayed to be very bad for you. And I won't go down the, conspiracy route with that whatsoever, because this is all solution based. But, you really have to look into things yourself, and you really have to research stuff yourself, guys, because you can't rely on Google to tell you whether.
No. So we get people phone us up. Is it safe for my children to drink? And I said, right, I've got to take you down the standard answer, which is I can't recommend you do or don't. I'll give you 2 different answers. One, the Food Standards Agency and government advice is that elderly, infirm, young, pregnant women should not consume raw milk. On the other hand, get onto Western Aid Price Foundation, have a look there. There's some really good, advice on raw milk there. There's a baby formula for raw milk. In fact, it would be 8 years back. A lady came to the farm shop with a very young, sort of 6-week-old, very, very poorly baby. She came with a mum. It was a mum that says, we're going to go and try this. And basically the baby wouldn't eat, wouldn't take breast milk, it just wouldn't eat. Everything that they were trying, it wasn't working. And mum had read about the Western Aid Price baby formula based on raw milk. And she said, I'm going to give it a try, because what else do I do? Doctors were saying, we need to hospitalize the baby, we need to tube feed the baby. So this was sort of last chance saloon. And she took a couple of litres of raw milk, and a week later she's back in. She said, baby's feeding, I can't believe it. So there was something in that just works. And like I say, my children are 3 months old, they were on raw milk. And was just passed all 9 GCSEs today, so that gives you an idea that it's not that bad.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. I think as well, like, because I was breastfeeding for like 16 months, 17 months, and it came to a point where I had to stop, unfortunately, because I had to have something done and medically, and it wasn't like wise to like continue breastfeeding at that current point in time. And I was like, what am I going to do? And the thing is, like, she's even supposedly lactose intolerant. She loves the raw milk, I raw butter, raw cheese,
This is another thing that what we find, and we can't make health claims. I can't say that this will help clear up eczema. I can't say that if you're lactose intolerant, this will be okay. What I can say is our customers tell us this. So when a customer says, when my daughter drinks raw milk, her eczema clears up, or my daughter can't drink pasteurized milk or supermarket milk, but she can drink this raw milk. That's given me an idea that maybe there's just something about the processes in food that make us intolerant to it, rather than the food itself as a whole food. Milk across the board, whether it's filtered, red top, green top, blue top, you name it. It's perhaps what we're doing to it that causes us to have intolerances to it.
I would 100% agree. And I will even go as far as to say, before having your guys' milk, I could not drink milk. I didn't even like having milk in my tea. It got to a point where I was doing the whole coconut milk, stuff, because something was just wrong about it. Whereas I pour myself a glass of your guys' milk and I absolutely love drinking it. I make my smoothies with it. Like, it tastes good. It tastes like
it's got a taste
in my body. Do you know what I mean?
It tastes of something. It actually tastes of something. Whereas super cold, filtered, homogenized, pasteurized, there's nothing left in it. And I say to people, they say, well, if I don't want to drink raw milk, what's the best thing I can drink? Is non-homogenized, pasteurized whole milk. That's the best thing you can drink. And people say, oh, it's full fat. No, it's 96% fat-free. Why is it full fat? 3.5%. It's 96.5% fat-free. So raw milk houses currently about 5% butter fat, 95% fat-free. And it's a good fat. It's not a trans fat. It's not a margarine. It's not a broken fat. These are whole fats that we've evolved over tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, to tolerate and digest. The minute you denature an enzyme in the milk, it's like denaturing enzymes in our body. We start to not tolerate things. We start not to work as the biological being we're designed to be. Should work. And to me, it's so obvious. Yeah, you go see a doctor and they'll go down every route of we need to see a dietitian. You need to see this, and no, you maybe need to just sort of break away and go back to whole foods. If I tell you, in our top 10 sellers every week on the online shop and in the farm shop, it's always raw milk. Always raw milk. But if I was to say ox liver, ox heart, also feature in that top 10, most people say, offal, who eats offal? But absolutely, we cannot keep up with the demand for organ meats, because they're nutrient dense and people are getting to understand them. We do we call it an offal mince. So it's basically 10% heart, 10% liver, 80%, 95% lean beef mince. And that's mixed together. And I fed it to my kids. I fed them the beef and offal burgers. They cannot tell the difference. But I know they're eating organ meats. I know they're getting really good nutrient-dense organ meats because I'm hiding them in an 80% mince product.
I'm gonna have to try it. It sounds really good. I must admit, I have not gone down the offal route, but that sounds so good.
Offal's it's a Marmite food, isn't it? You either like it or you don't. I was brought up. I'm not from a farming background. I came to this through marriage. I grew up in London, and my parents didn't have a lot of money, and we'd eat a lot of heart, a lot of liver, a lot of offal. It was cheap, it was easy, it was. And I love offal, but not everyone does, and it's an acquired taste. So to actually, buy a bag of mince that's got 10% heart, 10% liver, and 80% really good lean beef in it, and make a lasagna with it, or make a cottage pie, that's where it should be, because it's in there. You know it's in there, but you can't taste it.
Amazing. This is what I need. I'm in. You've sold it to me, because this is another thing that annoys me as well. It's like, don't eat butter, eat that horrible margarine stuff, which is just disgusting. You can't eat, sausages or this, that, and the other, or no, not eggs every day, but have like cereal, which is like the most, bad for you load of rubbish.
The last book I read, I try and read a book. We try and get away for a week a year. The last book I read was The Ultra Processed Diet by Chris Van Tolken, which was the research that man did for that book is incredible, and I recommend it to anyone. And it's really good to read, to understand. The cereal features quite a lot in it. It was sugar laden, absolute rubbish, over processed. On the flip side of that, we've tried to change what we do, most people love a bacon sandwich. So we do a nitrate free. Our bacon is nitrate free. We've moved away from any gluten in the sausages. So you're getting an 86% meat sausage. It's a better sausage anyway. And we've avoided pink curing salts. So anything that's carcinogenic or potentially bad for you, we've removed that. And that's really been embraced by our customers over the years. If I was to say with around an 81% return customer base, we must be doing something right, and we must be offering the right things to get that many people back online and say, I'm going to get my next month's order, and we're going to get some more like nitrate-free bacon and things like oxtail. Oxtail sells really well. Ox tongue, all the things that you think, oh, what do you do with that? But oxtail's gelatinous. It's full of gelatin, and cooked properly. You've got to cook it, but cooked really well, it's got all that gelatin in it, and it's really, really good for us. And it's funny how I think your body tells you what you need. So in winter, we will tend to cook with goose fat or duck fat or heavier fat. In the summer, we're back to olive oil because we don't need. When we're out on the farm 14 hours a day in winter, and it's cold and it's wet and you're burning calories, your body's saying, I need more calories, and let's have some of that goose fat or whatever to cook it in. And you have to listen to your body. It will tell you.
No, I love it so much. And that's what's great about you guys. You can get your meat from there, you can get your raw milk from there. And this is something I wanted to ask you, which will be really interesting. Has raw milk become more popular of the last couple of years, or has it always been a thing?
Okay, so prior to a consultation in 2016 by the Food Standards Agency, there was about 1 million litres of raw milk being produced and sold in the UK. Now, the consultation with the food Gestapo, the food police, was about, do we ban the sale of raw milk as it has been done in Scotland, or do we manage it better and do we oversee it better, and do we put some things in place to make sure that it's safe? And thankfully, the FSA board came back and said, no, let's keep consumer choice. That's a real big thing. But let's maybe add a gold standard to it, and let's add some voluntary rules. I say voluntary rules, that sounds a bit of an oxymoron, but basically we take on the testing, the pathogen testing. We do that every month. We belong to a group that have signed up to the gold standard, and there's about 6 million litres of raw milk now being sold in the UK. So it's making a resurgence. It's making a comeback. What I would never want to see is the deregulation of it, because the minute you deregulate something, it's a free for all, and that is someone that is not going to follow the rules. I can make a quick buck out of raw milk. I would never want to see it on the shop shelves because it shouldn't be there. It has to be one of the legalities of raw milk. It must be sold by production holding or a representative of production holding to end user. And that end user has to be a consenting adult. I'm not allowed to sell it to a child, which is mad. However, the end user can decide to give it to their children. But I wouldn't like to see it deregularized, because I wouldn't want the product to become so potentially dangerous that it became banned. So we've got a very fine balance at the minute of safe, compliant, good testing, good hygiene, good husbandry, and it is all, everyone's sort of saying, right, actually, Food Standards Agency, we'll get on board with you. Let's work together. And there's been, over the last sort of 8 years, there's been a massive shift towards this collaboration of Food Standards Agency and raw milk producers that have jumped on board and said, right, let's go for gold standard.
Yeah, that makes me so happy as well, because sometimes it's a worry that things do get banned because they're good for us. And so if it can stay, how it is, then I think that would be great. But to be able to go in, for example, Sainsbury's now, and there's unpasteurized butter there. I think more people are asking about it. More people want it. Like, more people are inquisitive.
Yeah, I think the thing with butters and cheeses, so unpasteurized butters and cheeses, you have got a greater control of getting the acidity right to kill any potential bacteria, unlike in milk, where there isn't the acidity there to do it. So you've got to stop it being there in the first place. Whereas I know we had a recent thing with the Lancashire cheese maker, and they've traced it back. It didn't come from the cheesemaker. You know, this has come from a further process. And I think if we go back a number of years to Selina Cairns, Errington Cheese, where Food Standards Scotland and the local authorities spent about £600,000 on a prosecution, made them destroy £250,000 worth of stock, only to get it to court, for the court to say there's no evidence that the E. coli in that cheese came from that cheese process or that farm. It has come from somewhere else. And it just saddens me that, you know, that was at the public expense, and you know, the public footed the bill for something like that. If you're working together with a government agency like the Food Standards Agency, and you're signing up to that gold practice, everyone's going to do their bit, because I don't want to see it banned. I want people to enjoy it. I want people to actually sort of, you know, be able to get the raw milk and say, "Do my child really good? You know, really, the health benefits of doing my child really good things." But also having the choice. It's about consumer choice, and keep it safe and compliant. That's what I'd like to see it stay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, I could talk to you about this literally. I mean, people probably think, how can you do a whole, you know, half an hour, 45-minute chat about raw milk? But it's so easily done.
We have merely scratched the surface.
I can imagine. We need to do a more in-depth one, maybe. That's crazy.
No, we can do a follow-up. We'll do a follow-up maybe.
We definitely will. Because I want to ask, sorry, you're obviously sat in your restaurant at the moment. So can you tell us a little bit about your sort of new venture that you've got going on there, so everyone knows about?
Yes. Bit of a risk, anyone might say, opening a restaurant in this day and age, but we've opened a restaurant on farm. One of our pipe dreams was to take food from the farm and put it on a plate, you know, here on the farm, 0 mile foods. And you know, one of the things that features in here is a soft serve raw milk ice cream. One of the few, probably the only restaurant in the UK where you can actually get that. Where we know we're the only restaurant in the UK licensed to sell, you know, soft serve raw milk ice cream. But this is it's a green oak octagon. I don't know if you've seen the glass walls all around, open plan kitchen. I've got Doug Crampton, who's heading up the kitchen team. He spent 13 years as James Martin's executive head chef in Manchester. I've got some of his team followed. I've got lots of really good quality front of house people. And the idea of this place is to actually put the farmed larder and the foraged farmed larder on a plate on the farm and take it to another level. And you know, if I told you, so today, because my middle child passed all 9 GCSEs, come on, we'll take you for brunch at the restaurant. So one of the brunch dishes are pancakes, and there's a sweet Sicily, so a foraged sweet Sicily syrup, but just a slight hint of it drizzled on the pancakes, of, you know, this beautiful creel of coconut cream, and at the minute when strawberries there in season. And it's just a fun take on what's on the farm, what's seasonal. It's not chef saying, I'm going to cook lamb shanks, because you want to put 50 dishes of lamb shank on, that's 25 lambs. Well, let's use the whole animal. You know, let's feature nose to tail eating. And that's what this is all about. So it's really exciting. It's opened on the 9th of March, so we're an absolute baby in the restaurant world.
No, congratulations to you. I absolutely love what you're trying to do. And as again, like I said, I will have to bring the family up to see you guys. Come and visit.
There's lots to see. Lots. And the one thing I think a lot of our restaurant, you know, and shop visitors sort of experience is the animals are everywhere. They're all around, and you can sort of get to close enough to interact with them. You know, family comes at milking time and wants to see the cows milk. Let's get you in the parlour. Let's see, you know, let's get the children understanding where food comes from. You know, I've got goats, got free-range piglets everywhere. I had to get the piglets off the terrace in the restaurant last weekend because they were digging up the terrace. No, move the piglets away. But that's a fairly unique experience. And
yeah, 100%.
Gazegill is it's very dear to us, and we've got this 250-acre amazing back garden. Let's share it. You know, let's get people back into nature. Let's get people understanding why our curlews are so, you know, our birds are so precious to us. Our lapwings, our skylarks, all these. You know, we were here after them. You know, that they were here first, so we've got to preserve their habitat, which doesn't happen often in UK agriculture. Habitat is one of the efficiencies that becomes a cost, an environmental cost. And that would be so sad. And the curlew, UK is responsible for about 35–40% of all curlews on the planet, and they're back on the red endangered list. The next step for the curlew is extinction, unless we reverse that trend. So we're doing our bit. It's our logo on our restaurant. The curlew is part of the logo, but only because we do so much work with the RSPB and other farms in the area to say you've got to make habitat, you've got to leave habitat for them, because they're a ground nesting bird. They only lay one clutch of four eggs a year. So once that clutch is lost because someone's mown the grass and literally mown through the nest, that pair of curlews, that's it for that year, which is really sad. So
honestly, your passion and your love for it is just amazing. And like I've said a couple of times, I will 100% be up. I want to come and like film some content up there with you guys, because
I do.
It sounds amazing.
Come and see us. And if anyone watching this, wants to take this to another direction or tangent, I'm sure they'll get in touch with you and we can explore that. I'm more than happy to follow this up, with questions.
Yeah, no, I would love to do that. If people do actually, want to get involved and shoot us over some questions, we'd be more than happy to film like a follow-up where I can do a question and answers with you. And obviously when I post this, all of your links will be below, on the Spotify and the YouTube. And I just want to say thank you so much. Like I said, I could talk to you for so long. Your passion and your love for it really comes across, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I'm really, really honoured to have spoken to you.
Thank you. It's what drives us. Again, thanks for the opportunity, because getting the message out there is so important to us, because that's the only way we can get more people doing it and get more farms farming this way. It's a commitment. It's not the easy way of farming, but it's the only way.
Yeah, Ian, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.